Chapter 5. The man in the lion mascot head stood in front of the massive gate, a flamethrower in his hands. The muzzle was already flickering with small flames, just enough to freeze the group in place. "Run!" Raymond shouted, leading the group to scatter in the opposite direction. But the lion-masked man squeezed the trigger, sending a blast of fire onto the ground just a few meters ahead of them. The heat was enough to force them to turn back. Sasha, the slowest, stumbled mid-run. She hit the ground hard, her knees scraping against the rough asphalt, blood seeping from the fresh wounds. Before she could get back up, the fire surged too close, licking at her back. A scream tore from her throat. "Raymond, help." "No." "Sasha." Allison tried to rush toward her, but Raymond yanked her back. "We can't save her," he yelled. Sasha tried to crawl away, but the lion-masked man approached her slowly, like a predator toying with its prey. "Do you like the heat, sweetheart?" His voice was deep, chilling. Then he pulled the trigger again. The fire consumed Sasha in an instant. Her screams ripped through the night, a sound so raw it cut like a blade. The lion-masked man laughed, a deep, guttural amusement, as he watched her burn. Raymond and Ben instinctively moved forward, but the scorching heat forced them to step back. Allison stood frozen, eyes wide in horror. Sasha's agony lasted 5 unbearable seconds before the screaming stopped, leaving only the crackling flames and the masked man's twisted laughter. He kept burning her long after she'd gone silent, ensuring nothing remained but a charred, smoking corpse. The stench of burnt flesh filled the air, making Logan double over and vomit. "No, no, Sasha," Allison whispered, her voice trembling as she stared at her friend's gruesome remains. Raymond snapped out of his daze and shoved the others forward. "Go. To that right over there. Now." They sprinted toward an old, rusted bumper car arena. The metal roof provided some cover, though it felt like little more than false security. Panting heavily, the 4 of them huddled together, their minds still reeling. "Shit. Sasha got burned alive. This is fucking insane." Raymond slammed his fist against one of the rusted cars. "This is hell. This is really..." Allison hugged herself, trembling. "Sasha, she was just murdered." Ben swallowed hard, trying to steel himself. "They're not monsters. They're human just like us. That deer-masked bastard died. That means the others can die too. We just have to be smarter." Before anyone could respond, heavy footsteps echoed through the lot. A fox-masked figure emerged from the shadows, dragging a spiked chain across the ground, the metal links scraping against the asphalt with an eerie, grating sound. On the other side, a panda-masked figure stepped forward, gripping a massive machete. "We're trapped," Logan muttered. "How many of them are there?" Raymond growled, frustration mounting as more and more masked figures kept appearing. The fox-masked man took another step closer, casually wrapping his chain around his hand. "So, who wants to die first?" His voice dripped with mockery. Raymond clenched his jaw and grabbed a long metal rod from one of the abandoned bumper cars. "If you want us, you'll have to work for it." Without hesitation, fueled by rage over Sasha's death, he charged straight at the fox. The clash was instant. Sparks flew as the spiked chain collided with the metal rod, the impact ringing through the night. Logan and Ben, now equally enraged, jumped into the fight. Logan swung a metal pipe at the panda-masked figure, trying to deflect the machete. But the panda was strong, too strong. He swung the blade downward, barely missing Logan's head as Logan rolled to the side just in time. Meanwhile, the fox sent Raymond crashing to the ground with a brutal kick to the chest. Before Raymond could recover, the spiked chain came whipping down toward him. He barely rolled away in time, the metal links smashing into the pavement where he had just been. Allison, who had been frozen until now, suddenly found herself moving. She spotted a jagged piece of broken glass from a shattered bumper car light and grabbed it. With a scream of defiance, she lunged at the panda, driving the shard deep into his neck. Blood spurted out in thick streams. The panda-masked figure gurgled, dropping his machete as his hands instinctively reached for the wound. "Allison!" Logan shouted, eyes wide as he watched the blood pour from the gash. Allison stood there, panting, her hands shaking as they remained clenched around the bloody glass. But the panda wasn't dead yet. He lifted a trembling hand toward her. Ben reacted instantly, grabbing a nearby metal chair and slamming it into the panda's skull. The masked man crumpled to the ground, gasping, twitching. Without thinking, Ben grabbed the machete from the dirt and in one swift motion swung it down, burying the blade deep into the panda's head. Meanwhile, Raymond fought to reclaim control over the fight against the fox. He managed to yank the spiked chain from his opponent's grasp, but the fox was relentless. He drove his elbow into Raymond's face, sending him staggering back. Laughing, the fox sprinted toward Allison, lifting his chain high. Allison screamed. But Logan was faster. He swung his pipe, smashing it into the fox's knee. The masked man collapsed with a grunt, and before he could rise, Ben struck his leg with another brutal blow. Logan and Ben worked together, knocking him down. Raymond, breathing heavily, picked up the spiked chain, now firmly in his grip. Without hesitation, he swung it with all his strength, smashing it into the fox's head. Then, with a fierce growl, he wrapped the chain around the man's neck, planting his boot on his back and pulling tight. The sickening crack of bones snapping filled the air. The fox's body went limp. Raymond let go, his breath ragged. They can die. Now 3 of them were dead. The deer, the panda, the fox. The first death had been accidental, but it had still been Allison, the one who seemed the most afraid, who struck the fatal blow. But none of this changed the fact that Sasha was gone. And this nightmare was far from over. For a moment, silence hung between them, the weight of what they'd just done sinking in. Then the unmistakable whoosh of a flamethrower igniting filled the air. Heavy footsteps approached. The lion-masked man was coming. Raymond turned to the others. We have to go. Now. They took off, leaving the bumper car arena behind. In the distance, the gate loomed closer. But lurking in every shadow, more masked hunters watched, waiting. This game was nowhere near finished.